Hello, my beautiful Piscean clan, and welcome to our May 2020 readings. This is an interesting month. Maybe that's an understatement in the context of everything that's going on, but this is a month that's heavy with retrogrades and powerful in the way that our magnetic pull towards a collective understanding of life is getting shifted in big ways this month. And, we'll talk through all of that, but I wanted to address the note that came up for Pisces as soon as I sat with your energy, which is one of the big energies that's going to be focused on and highlighted for Pisces this month is this idea of safety in the home, safety in the home of your being, safety in being a being on this planet, right? Safety in being embodied, and also safety in the way you think and move through the world. And one of the concepts that came up very strongly for me was this idea of the haunted house we construct in our minds. Often those haunted houses are built from experiences we had when we were very young, and we constructed a narrative or were given a narrative about what isn't safe, what we need to be looking out for, and why we need to be constantly thinking certain thoughts in order to stay safe. This month is going to give you the opportunity to notice where that haunted house is trying to come in and be the thing that keeps you safe, when in fact you're getting invited to trust more into your natural innate ability to tap into divine energy, and to trust that tapping in, that softness, that emotiveness is what will amplify your ripple effect in the world around you as you move through the world. So as you may feel like maybe you're going more internal, you're actually doing a lot for your external world as well. So let's start shuffling, and I will talk through all the big transits happening this month. So we have the north node of the moon shifting. It has been in Cancer, your fellow water sign, for about 1.5 years. And the north node always travels back and is now going back to meet Gemini, which means that the south node is also moving from Capricorn to Sagittarius. Now, these are fellow mutable signs, right? So you're going to feel the shift as it happens. And north node in Gemini hits into your 4th house of home and family. And the north node pulls us toward what we need to focus on, what we are going to be noticing as a big theme or trend that we are healing, connecting with, using more deeply for you. Like I said, this is safety in your thoughts, safety in your sacred, safety in your sense of home, both in your thinking and in your physical form. We have a full moon on May 7th in Scorpio, fellow water sign, in your 9th house of how you philosophize, the paradigm with which you move through the world. 4 of Cups. Yeah, I think we can all agree we're in a 4 of Cups moment at this time. Full moon in Scorpio is going to be a great illuminator for where you want to shift your paradigm, where you want to shift the way that you see the world. There's a whole bunch of retrogrades happening this month, including Venus retrograde, which starts on May 13th. I'm going to be doing a weekly series on my Patreon where we get really deep with Venus, and we work through this because this is a very healing transit, but it can also take you to some really deep, powerful places. And I think it's one that the more we understand it, the more we work with it, the better the transit is. And the more we try to ignore it, the more it feels intimidating, overwhelming, confusing, scary, what have you. So I would love it if you want to join me over there. I'll leave the link below. We'll be doing that as the weeks go on in live time so that you have resources as it happens. So that's starting on May 13th and will go to June 25th. Same sign as the North Node just activated, right? So all this energy in Gemini. Storytelling is really important at this time. How we use our voice, right? How we talk to ourselves, how we talk to others, how we narrate our time in this world. Okay, 3 cards wanted to come out. 6 of Wands, 4 of Wands, 5 of Swords. How we narrate our lives is really important. Now, we also have other retrogrades happening with outer planets. Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are all going to be retrograde starting in May. which means that we're doing a lot of our work from the internal. And this, these retrogrades, these outer planet retrogrades last until the fall. So they're at least 4 months long, depending on which one, which means that we're doing the internal work this summer. And this is a time to sit with your soul, sit with what it is telling you. And that inside out logic is really important right now. It's always true. But I think when we have all this energy retrograde, it's a reminder that the true joy in this life is from the inside out, right? It's never from the outside in. 3 cards wanted to come out: the Lovers, the Fool, and the Devil. Ooh, we got some powerful energy here. Okay, let's pull one more card, and then we'll talk through what I'm feeling for Pisces. This is a really interesting time. There's a lot of truth in May, but it doesn't come necessarily as a series of shocks as much as it comes from this kind of thrumming, slow, consistent feel that keeps bubbling up from within and can really be hard to ignore at this time. And as we move through the month, we start in Taurus, the sun moving through Taurus. Taurus energy is so beautiful. I think about, all the goddess culture in the world, the sacred cow, the sacred fertility goddesses, all the healing and nurturing that comes from Taurus energy. And as the sun moves through Taurus, you are having all that third house, throat chakra activation, where your truth and what really matters to you is so powerful. And then we move into Gemini season, where this is, like I said, all about how you take that narration and you put it into what you envision as home, what you envision as safety, what you envision as nourishing to you. And you're tapping into divine mother energy when you tap into your 4th house, which means, how are you self-mothering? How are you speaking to yourself? How are you nurturing yourself? Do you have self-soothing techniques that help you? King of Swords wanted to come out. Okay. So generally speaking, you all, there's this really robust energy moving you forward and saying this is a time where the emphasis is on that outward focus, right? It's not about replaying everything that's happened in the past. And there will be a temptation to go there and look over and over and over again what you could have done differently, where you missed out, where you didn't try hard enough, what have you, whatever your narrative is that you like to go to. This month is going to be inviting you, rather than doing that, to take this reshuffling time. And rather than seeing that as something that has to be scary, seeing that as something that is showing you very specifically the way. So 4 of Cups, the card of surrender. I think we can all agree the 4 of Cups is definitely a card of surrendering, rather than being, fixated on what's already happened or what you think you can control. The more you can relax and allow this unseen thing, right? It's the thing with May is that a lot of the good, juicy stuff that wants to come in, we can't quite see it, right? We can kind of feel it. If you're listening into that thrumming feel under the surface, you will notice there's something there, but you may not be able to fully see it yet, which could be frustrating, right? You could feel like, okay, if I can't see it, then maybe I should rely on these old techniques that have helped me survive before. But the 4 of Cups is always a reminder to always keep your heart open for that 4th cup that you can't see yet. Most of the good things that come into our lives, we don't see beforehand. We really don't. And it's easy to say, well, it was obvious it was coming once it's here. But if you talk to the self the day before or the week before that opportunity came in, that self wouldn't have any idea about it. And that's very much the feeling, especially at the beginning of this month, as we shift into North Node in Gemini, as we shift into these big retrogrades with Saturn and with Jupiter. The other thing to keep in mind with you all this month, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet, is that Mars is in your sign this month. And Mars moves into your sign on the 13th, the same day Venus goes retrograde, actually. And Mars is that determined energy, right? He's very forward focused, and it is considered a malefic planet or a planet that likes destruction and likes to rev things up, but loves to take action, right? But Mars in Pisces is really special because it's a reminder that Mars is a little uncomfortable in Pisces. However, when we're reworking the warrior narrative, which we are doing as a collective right now, Mars working in Pisces is really important because it's that reminder that in being in touch with the divine and with the loving and with the forgiving and with the healing, that is powerful action forward. And that's what I see with this Six of Wands and Three of Wands. These are cards of culmination, of bringing something new in, of opportunity, of openness, right? Your ships are coming in, the battle has been fought, there are answers coming in here, right? So we start with this kind of mysterious energy that's like, I'm not sure if anything's going to happen this month. And then we start to see this huge infusion of energy here. Now, this is what's interesting about this month. It's very easy to play some mind games with yourself at this time, Pisces. So you may start to see the results coming in, see the opportunities coming in, see things moving and shifting, and those rays of sunlight coming in after kind of a big storm and where there has been a lot of maybe grief or other big emotions coming up. You're starting to see those rays. There may be the temptation to disregard them and not trust them and to be a little paranoid about them. Understandable. I think we've all been there. The Five of Swords is a very deeply paranoid energy though, right? I mean, it's not trusting yourself, not trusting those you're working with or around, not trusting the information coming in your way, which is very easy at this time to do as well. Communication is both a beautiful thing and a volatile thing at this time. There's so much of it all the time, and sorting through it is a lot of work for our physical and mental and spiritual beings. But the Five of Swords is kind of where, okay, you have all this energy coming in, moving through the world with you, and you're looking over your shoulder, looking out for the pitfalls. That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? To double check, to look over things, to be aware of what works for you and what doesn't. You know, one of the other things that came up for me with Pisces, yes, there's that haunted house. What is the haunted house that you replay in your mind when you're feeling worried or stressed? But also, this is about your sacred temple. Like I said, this is divine mother energy. This is the watery moon energy that's getting worked through for you with the north node of the moon and Venus. And that means that where healing is happening for you, where forward motion is happening for you, is in the sacredness of what's in your home. So it's fair also to be aware of things that make you feel prickly, that make you feel unwell, that feel like intrusion or pain. So pay attention to that for sure, but also remember that there's a difference between paranoia and discernment, and trying to parse out which one is the haunted house and which one is that true soul song, right? Because look at this, the Lovers and the Fool. We're not playing around here, my friends. These are beautiful rays of sunshine that come in and give us that clarity where there may have been a lack of clarity in the first part of this year, really. There was so much shift all the time, that clarity and that knowingness kind of flickered in and out. You know, our radio dials are getting all rearranged right now, so how you tune into that frequency has changed. How you recognize that frequency has changed, because the frequency itself has changed. So for you, this is a time of reboot. This is a time of reignition when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your personal identity. And here's what's really interesting too with the moon nodes, which I will also be going over on my Patreon. We're going to sit down and really spend some time with the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius. But the South Node in Sagittarius has a lot to do with what you do in the world and how you move through the world and what you bring to the world and how people see you when you're out there being your bold self. And that's the South Node. The North Node for you is going to be about that internal. And what I see from that is your ability to move through the world and make impact and be present and create and do and act really does rely on that fourth house energy being lit up. So when you're feeling like you're retracting or maybe like you're going too deep in, it may not be the case, because you may be opening up some really beautiful new chapters, some really beautiful new opportunities coming in for you at this time that are important to pay attention to. They may come in packages that you haven't looked for before, right? The way rarely ever comes in the way we've pre-written it. And this is definitely a time where any of us who had a pre-written plan for this time, that's going away. There is loss in that, but there's a gain. There's something else to gain. So pay attention. Pay attention because, okay, this is really interesting. Whenever you get the Lovers and the Devil so close together in a reading, there's something important going on here between where you imprison and where you are free, right? I think the Fool being in the middle of the Lovers and the Devil is quite symbolic here. The Fool is very free because he has no pre-written narratives. He's completely open to whatever that next step is with no expectation. The Lovers and the Devil are the two variation of relationships that can show up. One being very good, balanced, communicative energy, and the other feeling like imprisonment, the inability to communicate, feeling trapped, feeling a little obsessive, overthinking things. The freedom of the mind and the prison of the mind. Another way you can think about this is our mind is not our master. It makes a very good servant, but not a master, right? And when we're in the devil modality, a lot of times we think that our obsessive thinking, our obsessive routines, where we have control is how we're going to be happy. When in fact, how we're going to be happy is to release a little bit, believe more in that divine overarching energy. So this is a great time to investigate where you feel shackles on or shackles off, as Martha Beck says. What feels heavy? What feels clumsy? What feels liberating? Saturn retrograde in Aquarius in your 12th house, in your spiritual house, that will be happening starting on May 11th this month, means that we're going through what our foundations are, what our foundational beliefs are, what your foundational agreements are for what you think you're supposed to sign up for all the time is in a huge review at this time. Now, King of Swords is a really interesting final energy. Yes, you may be working with some air energy. You may have some air energies around you that are opinionated. That's absolutely true. But the King of Swords is an important clue here because he is the king of discernment, right? And like I said, there's a difference between paranoia and worry and fear and anxiety thoughts and discernment and making those clear, crisp choices. Discernment works best when we clear our minds, we think of the thing, the activity, the situation, and we let ourselves trust in that first reaction. Should I make that phone call today? You can start with something really simple. Oh, I'm supposed to be on that call today. Do I want to be on the call or not? No, I don't. Okay. That is King of Swords discernment, right? It's detached energy. It detaches from the past, the present, the future. It's just the truth. It just cuts through. This is really important for you because you're navigating so many levels during this month of your soul. You are activating a new energetic cycle. You are welcoming in some really new, big, bold information that could be overwhelming. You are tapping into deeper relationship healing and connection at this time, which means that you need that balanced, centered energy to help make clear what's really serving you at this time. And so you don't get lost in the haunted house or the house of mirrors. I have some words that I've written up, keywords for the month of May, and I'm going to pull one at random for you. And we'll see what message comes through. Oh, and the message that came through is loved. I love that so much. That's so beautiful. Okay, loved. So fitting with the Lovers and the Fool and the Three of Wands and all this good connective energy. At this time, it's important to let yourself be loved in the receptive manner, right? And to stay open. To be loved means you have to be open, like the Fool. I think these two go very well together, right? It's the knowledge of you being loved. It's the knowledge of knowing you are loved. And it's important that you don't shut yourself down. I think to be open means you have healthy boundaries. You trust yourself enough to know you will make choices that serve you well. and you remain open to these rays of sunshine that want to come in, and that you don't get paranoid or shut them off because you're worried it's false hope, or it's too idealistic, or you have to second guess that intuitive divine belief part of yourself because maybe you have started a story that says that it's led you astray, or it has been wrong, or that you need to be cynical about it. I know you, Pisces, and as much as you are dreamers and lovers and beautiful and warm and big and bold, you also have a huge cynic inside of you that most of you have created to survive when you were younger and you were told that you were wrong for being so emotionally connected and so believing. So that cynic for you is one of the big things that you need to show compassion to, but then also understand that it can't dictate your whole being. This is a really important month for understanding that and paying attention and noticing when those things are coming up. Like I said, we are going to be doing so much on my Patreon in May because it's a really important month and we have so many retrogrades to work through. Venus retrograde is a really important transit. It's one of my favorites, and I don't want people to get superstitious about it. I want people to feel empowered by the beauty of it, the priestess work that we do with that, the deep magic of Venus energy when she is retrograde. It goes really deep, so I'd love to see you over on my Patreon. I will also be opening up more June sessions. I haven't quite yet. I've got some logistics to figure out as far as my life at the moment, so that I know that I can be in a space where I can do the work, but I will be opening up more spots. So if you want to work one-on-one with me and create that beautiful space together, I will leave my booking page below so you can get a sense of that and how to contact me. You can find me on Instagram at Sarah Verba. And as always, I'm wearing PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. She is my jewelry queen. So if you're looking for grounding, handmade, really beautiful, earthy energy, you can go check out her Etsy shop as well. All of the goodies are in the description box. I will see you all for more moon magics, for more discussions, and have a beautiful May, my gorgeous Pisces.